So please start now.
Okay, so good morning, first of all, to everyone. My name is Virendra Kamalvanshi, and today, I will start with a very important issue related to our food industry. At present, we are in a mid of COVID infection. We are getting issues related to the supply chain. Okay, so if you see, in last few months, we have seen some of the news like this, 2,600 cases related to vegetable market because of this COVID virus, and same thing was in daily market. Some of the cases were from abroad also, like in US and Canada, they have to shut down, and ultimately it the impact was like whole economy was under turmoil. There was a great recession, not only in India, everywhere. And this is the monetary loss, but also we lose many important lives. People died. And sometimes, like at present, now I'm focusing on the food issues, like food. Definitely, if food somehow it is contaminated, then there is a loss due to that in terms of food, and ultimately it is going to give impact in terms of economic impact or maybe environmental impact, and of course, like human loss. Many people they died due to food poisoning. Okay, so many issues simultaneously we will take, and I will not only take that issues, I will try to give solution to that. Okay, so like as a implication, we see that because if we see the coronavirus, because of that, the there was uh, we got some information from this paper that what are the implication of such uh, conditions. Then we found that the most of them they were related to supply chain movement within or within the country or outside the country. Okay, and because of that, industries they could not able to run properly in a normal manner. Okay, so if we see that this global supply chains, they it was like almost very important reason behind that. As a solution, these challenges they were always in the industry. What is the source of my food as a consumer or as a industry? We want to know the raw material that is coming to our industry. What is the source? If it is a fruit pulp, then whether we have any mechanism by which we can track the backward linkages of that particular input. And there are other challenges in food industry, like whether these inputs they are authentic, um, and whether the contamination level is up to permissible limit, or like it is spurious, like food it is available. So what exactly like food industry? Because for food industry, it moves at four ways, like a value for the money to the consumer, value like suppose the product, what they are, its utility in terms of ease of preparations and convenience, So all these things, they are very important for consumers. Uh, as an industry, we also want to know that backward and forward marketing integrations, like raw material, especially related to agriculture or food product, is what goes, how we are getting, and forward market integration. Like if we have product, then how is reaching to ultimate consumer. So in between the real time of various conditions, like during production, the safety issues, the environment issues, and of course in the transit, when it is in transit, whether the temperature was maintained, whether the time lap was okay, like whether it took more than the normal. So that can be like a very important information which we require. Of course, we also require uh, health related data of the food handlers, means the workers, those who are handling those food in the industry, or maybe the agriculture farmers. Okay. And of course, then finances, like whether we are sharing it properly to the every stakeholder or not. Okay, so this is my topic. Like this is the topic: blockchain, the future of supply chain. Keeping all these issues related to food industry, uh, this is the topic: blockchain, future of the food supply chain. Okay, and myself, Viren Kamalvanshi, I'm basically agricultural economist in Department of Agricultural Economics at BHU. Okay, so first thing first, what is blockchain and why it is unique? Uh, okay, so let us discuss the concepts which we will discuss in between. So first thing is supply chain. Supply chain is like uh, when we sell any product, or maybe we mobilize the product from producer to consumer, ultimate consumer. Okay, so this whole route from the production to the ultimate consumer is supply chain. Okay, so this supply chain is traditionally it is different, and the topic which we are discussing is blockchain, which is little like digitalized way of supply chain. Okay, so what we will okay, then transaction, the transaction, it is a smallest building block of blockchain system. That means any record, any information that we will be using, we will call it as a transaction. As normally we do a banking transaction, it is a information that this much amount of money we have transferred to somebody's account. Okay, so that information or that record, we call it as a transaction. Then we have a chain. Chain means a sequence of blocks in a specific order according to time. Okay, and we have miners. Miners, like those who perform a block verification process by adding anything to blockchain ledger. Okay, so discussing about the blockchain, what exactly the blockchain is. Blockchain is a secure, transparent, and decentralized, sometimes centralized ledger. Okay, ledger means it's a register of all the registers, where every information is kept in a secure and in transparent way. Secure means it's not that it is not visible. Secure means you cannot change that. It is immutable. It is incorruptible. You cannot change. So, as you might have seen on the bank checks, there are multiple signatories. So these multiple signatories are basically to secure the account in terms that nobody misuses that particular check. Okay. So same way the blockchain is there, but it is a digital and it is decentralized. Usually we think that if some organization is there, like railway, we are doing booking, we are sending our goods. So it is the collectively, the data is managed by railway. There are 4 servers throughout the India, and they maintain a backup of those information at different places. But somehow, suppose if there is a some kind of natural disaster, suppose tsunami, and we lose all the our data centers, okay, then what will happen? So this blockchain is basically decentralized. Even if there will be a loss of whole World Wide Web, that is WWW, then also somewhere there will be a blockchain with the individual and it will run. Okay, so it is so secure. It cannot be changed. Everything will be okay. Let's like much more deeper it so that can have a better understanding. Suppose I'm starting a transaction, and from here I'm requesting a transaction, and this is like taken by different other stakeholders. So whatever I am doing, suppose I sent 500 to X person, so this information will be taken by different stakeholders on the blockchain, and they will validate it. They will validate that, okay, you have sent these 500 rupees. And after this verification is done, okay, by miners, then this verified transaction can be added to the chain of block. Okay, it will be converted into a block of information that you have transacted 500 rupees, and this 500 rupees was sent by you on a particular time. So that means there will be a timestamp. Okay, there will be a timestamp, and this timestamp will be associated with this particular block. And this whole chain of block is secured, and nobody can change this. Okay, so after the transaction is, then after verification, the transaction will be completed. These records are decentralized. There is no central database, as I said, the railway is managing. There is no centralized database. It is managed among the stakeholders. Okay, they manage the information and they manage all the chain. Okay. In case of food, basically, if we start with the farmers' field, um, there are many issues like what is the temperature, what is the pH, what is the soil status, whether they are using chemicals, pesticide, water, other spray. Okay, so this can be tracked with the help of our IoTs. Okay, Internet of devices. Okay, so these devices, smart devices, they will give the details of the condition, the soil condition, the pH, the temperature. In that condition, we got that crop from the farmers. Okay, So after getting this information, this will be transmitted to every stakeholder, right from the transporter or maybe the person who is here getting collecting the data, industry. Okay, so they will plan their logistic support for transportation, and when they are taking this produce from farmers field to the industry, what was the condition in transit, what was the condition in warehousing. Okay. Information will be available, and to on the real time basis every day 24 into 7 they will have the information of farmers field from where they are getting. Okay, so this is like we are taking for agriculture as a backward linkage to the industry. Okay, then go to the forward linkage. Suppose we produced some product out this. Suppose we purchased potato, we converted it into chips, and then we sold those chips to consumers. So, what is the shelf life? What is the according to that we can have a estimate that if some product it is lying at some store which is like shelf life, then we will try to get back. Okay, we will try to call the whole lot back to the industry. Okay. So this can be done. Okay, and everywhere there will be a generation of data, and this data again, like it will be associated with the time, it will be converted into blocks, and this is like this blockchain data will help to get the clear-cut information. How this blockchain is different from the traditional databases. Okay, so earlier what we were doing, like suppose this is our bank, and as an individual we used to do our transaction with bank. Since banks, they are like they have their own coordinated system, this information will reach to this particular bank from where you have given this money this particular person. So ultimately, like this will be the headquarter, and these are like suppose the regional bank, regional branches. Okay, so this information will flow like this. There will be database here at the center, but in case of blockchain, every individual they will have a data which is immutable, and they will keep the data with them. Okay, so there is no centralized database. Okay, so we will have a decentralized, okay, data. Now how this okay, maybe the technology part discussed, major like the purpose was like how like we can get this technology to give solution for our food issues, especially related to consumers, industry. Nowadays, because we are consuming many things which are produced somewhere other part of the world. Okay, like we are eating chocolate, we are eating these cheese, no? So all these things they are coming from some abroad, maybe. Okay, so we want to know whether they have followed a proper regulation related to cultivation, related to marketing, storage, everything. So for to know about our food, it's very important as a consumer, and if it is a raw material, suppose, then we should know that from where it is coming. The reason is that 80% of the cases related to food industries litigations, they are related to the misinformation or lack of information from to the people. Because suppose I know one case where somebody from the China, somebody from India, they transported this mango pulp, and for last 10 years they were supplying that mango pulp to. But somehow this time what happened around 50 bottle day is after they reached the port, they were like in there was some issue related to quality. It was informed by the party, and then it was communicated that if suppose if 150 bottles are not up to the mark, then they can repeat. There's no okay. You just take whole lot back, and we can okay. So because this was an issue with the Indian partner, so in between like 10 days, the lot kept remain there on the port, and because of that, the whole lot got this means spoiled. So ultimately, it is lack of the proper information because the Indian partner was not aware why it happened, what was the backward linkages, like from where they purchased the raw material, what happened in between the transit. Okay, so this is a very important issue as for the food industry. So how this blockchain basically we know about the food supply chain from the growers. It is like from farmers, they are agricultural service providers, or we call adathias. They collect the whole lot and they give to the companies. Companies, they 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 again, if they want, they can utilize, or maybe they can pass distributors same product after like packing, repacking, and ultimately it will reach to the consumers. This is a very typical supply chain. In case of export, have like freight, and we supply through water. If it is in perishable, we use flight also in flight mode also. So then for multinational corporations, they collect, they are so much connected that they collect different type of commodities from different places. They manufacture it. Suppose if we take the case of Nestle, they are manufacturing Maggie, and this Maggie noodles, they have a around 2000 crore business in India, okay, of noodles. So approximately 60-70% is basically a Maggie out of that. So basically,
So your voice is breaking.
we okay. It's okay. It's okay.
It is still breaking.
Hello, Doctor.
Can anybody else confirm? Is it the problem from just my side, or can everyone hear sir's voice breaking?
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Okay. maybe some network issue. Let me get. Now it okay? If not, let me. Hello, am I audible now?
Yes, sir. It seems you're audible now.
Okay. Maybe there was some network. Uh, so I was discussing about supply chain. Supply chain is very important in case of food because food industry deals with the agricultural products. It's a material which is first of all it is perishable.
So the entire voice broke.
Virendra sir,
Ma'am, probably you can ask for his presentation. It seems his network is not, supporting enough to show both the presentation and his voice. So if somebody else can host the presentation, I think his network might be able to support just for his voice.
wait, let me talk with sir. Give me 5 minutes, please.
Uh,
Sir is back.
okay, yeah, I missed because of this network, so I'm coming back to the point. Okay. Uh, Madam Jannat, how much time I have?
Pardon, sir?
How much time? Like how much time?
Sir,
Like it
almost
is?
half an hour.
Okay, half an hour. Okay, okay.
So you can finish before
So
or 10
I'm
minutes later. That's not an issue.
okay. Okay. Yeah. So I was discussing about the food industries. Basically, in food industry, it is very important that uh, we should get the information related to the raw materials because first of all, agriculture produce it is highly perishable. There is a perishability, and with the time there is issues related to quality, some kind of uh, loss of aroma. Okay, so that remains there in case of food. So what what are the different condition in which actually it happens? So right now, like we have corona pandemic. So there are some disruptions and sometimes it is ruptures. Okay, disruptions means it's a minor at a minor scale when you have like some kind of blockage for very few period, then it is like okay, it will be like disruption. Otherwise, what will happen that uh, is that the product is not up to that mark, and there is some issues to that. Okay, so and price fluctuations also, because there is some price fluctuation, and because of that the things that supposed to be delivered, it was not delivered because back and integration, they didn't expected that they will have a proper benefit out of it. Okay, so then disruptions can be like related to latest technology. Okay, so we have to manage with the help of different supportive plans, plan A, plan B, then what type of vulnerability like that industry is facing, then we have to check that. Okay, that what are the, suppose we are manufacturing mango pulp, then we should know that what are the issues related to the supplier side. Maybe sometime it is related to the supplier side, maybe the uh, condition, environmental conditions, and we have to diversify that supply base. Okay, we have to diversify that supply base so that in case there is some issues related to insect pest or price, then we can collect that raw material from some other place. Okay, so all the things they are there, and it depends upon the causing events and how much it is deviating our supply chain. Okay, so like sometimes the it is a single event and we have only single deviation. Okay, single event and single deviation, it there was no history, but it happened, and it happened only at single place. So it is like, it is not very important, it is least concern. But if we take the case of multiple event and multiple deviations, like in case of onion, in case of tomato prices, we have seen that multiple events, multiple time it happened, and there was like many reason for that. Okay, so we can track that, and we can have a full vulnerability audit, like why it is happening, what is the reason behind that, and how we can manage. Okay. Then how it affects the food industry. Suppose there is an outbreak of some bacteria, some virus, or maybe the price related issues. So how this can affect the food industry? So one thing is like like in COVID also, there were many places where there was sufficient food supply with the farmers especially. So, but they couldn't able to sell that in the market, and because of that, it got wasted. Okay, so waste wastage is there at the primary level, at the source level, and there is a price volatility. At the producer end, they are selling at very lower price, and at the consumer end, the consumer they are paying very high. And those area where accessibility is less, there is a food scarcity. It is estimated that during COVID, uh, the number of people they suffered due to COVID is like exactly it is less than the food scarcity. People suffering from the food scarcity. Okay, then poorer diets and depleted food stocks with companies as well as and leading to inflation, real income losses, and which slow down the economics, local economics. Okay, so ultimately it affects our economic health of country. The long-term effect is if a company they are ignoring such things, and they are not preparing themselves with different plans, then what will happen that it will close automatically, because they could not able to manage their supplier base. They could not able to manage the other things related to their forward linkages. Okay, so ultimately they will have a huge economic loss. uh, yes, one reason is like if they will have this kind of thing, they have to switch to mechanization so that they can get lesser and lesser contamination from the human sources. Okay, reducing the reliance on seasonal labors. Okay, so all these issues, like they are ultimately related to our food industries. The price will increase, or if suppose food is not properly available, then it may cause severe law and orders situation. Okay, so uh, now how this technology blockchain is like helping different in different part of the world. Okay, different industries. Let's take one. I'm taking this example for of Walmart. Actually, Walmart is a everybody, like Walmart is into the retail. It's a world's biggest um, logistic support company. Okay, and it stocks their product in 70 different countries, and almost 11,000 stores, and they are now changing the way they are managing their supplies. Now they are using a high-tech blockchain by which they can give the right thing to right consumer at right time. Okay, so what now they are doing is they have invested a lot of money in this. Last year, like they generated 12.5 billion rupees amid this COVID, and because of this COVID, they thought that why not to secure these blockchains, food chains. So these supply chains were like they collaborated with two different centers in Beijing and invested around 25 million rupees over 5 years to research global food safety. Okay, and they came with this two blockchain pilot projects. One was on the pork, and other was on mangoes. Okay, so what they did is like the mango in Walmart. Uh, like it takes 5 to 8 years for a mango tree to mature and bear fruits. And usually they take mango from South America, Central America, which which from there it was packed in a packing house, get washed and boxed. Okay, and the whole process used to take almost 6 days, 18 hours and 14 minutes. Okay, so what they did is they took a challenge. Okay, means to track all the things. It means for tracking the updates, sometimes it used to take 6 days almost. Okay, then now what they are doing is to sell these mangoes in different stores. Now they are taking the help of blockchain. To consumers, every information is there on their portal with the application. To the store admins, they have their information. So everything is available to them. Okay, and they are tracking whole lot, like when it is coming, what will be the condition. Okay, so what Walmart did is they combined artificial intelligence, Internet of the Things, and blockchain. Okay, three things. In artificial intelligence, like where they can automatically take few decisions, some of the components, and the Internet of the Things like sensors. They can generate data. A continuous data will be generated from there. That okay, this is the condition, and this will help in decision making. So what they did is they tagged with numeric identifier status updates, signed and logged at each step, so that this mango can be tracked back to farm. Like if consumer, they want to know that okay, from where this mango came. Okay, so they can track back, okay, by this numeric identifier. Only what consumer they have to do is they will just scan that tag and they will get the information. Okay, so this helps the reliability ultimately. And you know, it's very important in food industry to have a reliable sources. Okay. Yes. The ultimate benefit of the initiative was that because of this transparency and improved information system, there was increase in the trust and transparency to the ultimate consumer. This improved the shelf life of management, and lot of waste, which was like earlier it was there, it was reduced. It also reduced the chances of spurious or fraud products, like which like used to people, they used to mix in between. If suppose they are getting the product from Central or South America, in between some of the people, they can change or they can mix the product. So now there is no chance, because everything is like properly tagged, marked, and accordingly it is informed to the producers. So this was the benefit. Now if we talk about the India, in case of India, ICRISAT with the partnership 1101, they have started a Kheti Next mobile app, which is basically working in rural India to give a blockchain solution to smallholder farmers so that they can increase their income. Okay, they are generating data at each level from farmers' field, and how much the producers surplus they have, uh, how much money they will get, how much of input they require. So everything is like not traceable. Okay, so the major aim was to provide traceability of agricultural produce on blockchain. Okay, so it was done in Hyderabad near Ikriset, the Kheti Next. And similarly, the Tea Board of India, they were facing issues related to decline in the prices of quality tea because of adulteration. It was very difficult to distinguish between the good tea leaves against the bad tea leaves. So now what they are doing, they have invested a lot of money for this blockchain technology solution so that they can track the source with the proper timestamp, so that the high-end quality tea, uh, they can be sold at the proper prices. Because earlier what was happening, that those people who were using this spurious or a bad quality one, they were selling at very lower prices. So because of that, there was a huge loss to the tea states. So they decided to go for this kind of technology, and so that they can use this technology for the better returns from their product, that is tea. Okay. So at the end, this blockchain in agriculture and especially in food, uh, it is going to like hit the industry, and in coming years there will be a huge investment from the industry, because with this technology we can have a proper traceability of the sources. We can have a secure data, secure payments. We can minimize the risk, and we can give a confidence to our consumer that, okay, whatever they are using, if we are saying it is organic, then it is organic, because they can have all the details of the produce right from the retailer, the wholesaler, and to the ultimate producer from where they got their produce. Okay, so this helps, and supply chain is like it will be a great transformation for the food business. At least this digital initiative definitely will change the whole scenario of the food industry. Okay, and this is all from my side. Any question on this?
Hello, sir. Thank you for the wonderful presentation. It was very informative. My name is Ronak. My question
Yes.
is regarding how a farmer from a very grassroots level can
Yes.
probably think of even implementing blockchain and IoT, and what might be the cost barriers and some other barriers that probably would restrict him to implement IoT and blockchain.
Yeah, very good question, Dr. Ronak. You see that we have already seen in Indian scenario that cooperatives, they were not very successful. Only for in few areas like Gujarat, Amul, we have IFCO. Very few examples are there for successful cooperatives. The reason was that it was very difficult to track the individual's effort, individual's work, and in between, like the responsibilities that was given to each member. And if you see the cooperatives norms, okay, in cooperative, what are the different norms? So this blockchain is basically, it is a decentralized, of course, initially farmer, they have to make a group, suppose like a FPO, or it may be a cooperative also, where they can have a maybe on the consultancy basis, they can have this kind of technology, because it's not very costly, because there is no centralized system where like we need very high end computing, because here the computing is distributed. Let me give you one example. This is the website of UP government. Okay, here actually they are using this thing, blockchain, for this transparency. Like farmers, they are purchasing their things, and they are also selling their produce. Okay, so they are trying. The government is trying here, although it is not the decentralized blockchain. It is a centralized, because somewhere the data is stored by government. But of course, there are many other hybrid model which farmers they can use. But yes, definitely they need little bit of training and support from some organization, because initially uh, they need that kind of support initially.
Okay, sir. Thank
Good
you.
morning, sir.
Yeah.
Good morning,
Sir,
sir.
good morning.
Yes.
Sir,
Ali Hussain from Andhra Pradesh.
Yes.
Sir, is it suitable for the fish and prawn?
Is it suitable for?
Fisheries farmers and prawn farmers.
Yeah, why not? It's like I was just going through the world fisheries. World fisheries. Last year they were there in ICRISAT. We had. So what now they are doing is they are getting all the data related to fisheries, their population, with the use of this particular technology. Okay, and where actually is, and like 20 to 25% of the cases in fisheries sale is related to the quality aspect. So that can be like easily managed with the help of this blockchain. So there is a good model at World Fisheries. If you can see their website, they are using this big data and blockchain for this.
Sir, fisheries and prawn, 100% quality is needed, sir. It's exported, 100% exported.
Pardon, I couldn't get it.
This prawn or the fisheries is sector is 100% need quality. For
Yeah,
improving the quality,
yeah.
our methodology is suitable.
Yeah. Because here we are concerned with that only, that it should be fresh. It should be like properly informed that how much quality will be available at what time it will be available, so that we can manage everything. Like if we need a cold chain support, then it should be ready. It should be ready at that particular time. So, as I said, there is a good model available at World Fisheries. If you just go to that, you can get a lot of information related to this fisheries and prawns.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Good day.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sir,
Yes.
good morning.
Good morning.
Sir, my question is, sir, Walmart is feasible in a country like India, where there are many numbers of retailer and local vendors.
Yes, Walmart is like this. Reliance Fresh is using the same model.
Ji, sir.
Reliance Fresh is using the same model, although we didn't allow Walmart in that way, but sooner or later, like if you go through the latest bills which was passed in Rajya Sabha, basically it points out the government's intention towards that. Okay, the contract farming and everything, like it means that even government, they are giving green signal to them.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Okay, anybody? Okay, if not, then I thank you for your patience listening, and because this topic was little bit different from your food sciences, so I thought it will be a something very different from the normal food science, and I really thank you all for this. Thank you. Jannat, over to you. Hello. Okay, I think she is not there. Okay.